Welcome back to the Plus Money Podcast, your home for the best soccer bets in 15 minutes or less. We are into week 38. There's a few leagues still playing. There's action in the Premier League. It's the final match day in La Liga, and there's potential craziness in Serie A. I'm Andrew Passaro. I'm joined by Europa League champion Marcus Krum, also author of the Plus Money Podcast weekly newsletter. Shout out Marcus and Tottenham. They won their first title in a very long time this week. We're very excited for them. Lots to talk about on the show today. By the way, go subscribe to the newsletter. Not sure how many of those we'll get out this summer. We'll see how much action we're going to be doing as the summer gets closer. But we'll figure out something for you guys. We do have Gold Cup. We do have the Club World Cup. So we'll be checking in from time to time. It's the final weekend of the Premier League. There is some things to play for. It's wild that third through seventh is not decided. All the teams that are going to be in Europe are in Europe, but it's where they're going to be in Europe is still undecided. Marcus, I'll just ask you this before we get into Manchester United, Aston Villa. Ange in, Ange out.
Oh, you know what? I'll let him do what he wants to do. I don't even care. Ange can, if he's the coach next year, I'll be happy. If he's not the coach, I'll also be happy. It's the dichotomy of our season. It makes it difficult to choose. So I'm happy either way. I'm gonna be riding this high for a long time, no matter what.
Alrighty. Before we get into it, subscribe to the newsletter. Links in the bio. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and the like button. If you're on any of the podcast apps, hit that subscribe button. Let's get into it. Manchester United takes on Aston Villa. Manchester United, nothing to play for except for the fact that everybody is mad at them. Their fans are falling apart on the internet. You hate to see it personally. Aston Villa is sitting at minus 140 on the money line. That's probably good enough for a lot of people. Aston Villa have to win this game. They probably need to win it convincingly. Things could come down to goal differential. They don't have a good one of those this season. Villa and over 1.5 is at minus 105. I like that a lot. I do think they're going to score goals. Two other things I like. Villa 15 shots is plus 110. They've hit that in 7 of their last 10 games. Manchester United haven't been giving up a ton of shots, but I do kind of feel like Villa are just going to be fully going for this. They have nothing to lose here. They have to get a win. They have to get a result if they want to qualify for the Champions League, which if they don't, they're going to be in financial trouble. And also a sneaky one, a Boubacar Kamara shot is plus 105. He's done that in 3 of his last 5 games. A shot on target, which he's done in his last 2, is plus 460. He's going to start in the base of midfield as Tielemans is out injured. And we know that those deep lying midfielders have a big role to play for this Aston Villa side. So I kind of like him to do something in this game. I know you have picks for this as well. What are you thinking here?
Yeah, I mean, you said it all in terms of the stakes. Just Villa being a team that desperately needs this win, for more reasons than just being in Europe, but for the financial troubles that they're going to have if they don't get into Champions League. I also had Villa money line in over 1.5. That's right about even money, which seems almost like a lock at this point. I just like the way Manchester United's season has gone is, especially in the Premier League, they've just really struggled to score goals. And they're they're going to be hungover for different reasons this weekend. I think it's the disappointment hangover from missing out on Europe and losing a cup final. I don't usually take these, but I'm going to throw 2 of these at you today. But the Villa correct score combinations to win 1-0, 2-0, or 3-0 at plus 330.
Ooh,
That just feels like a result that we're going to see is Villa winning handily and keeping a clean sheet. I know it's at Old Trafford, but United have not been good at Old Trafford this season, so I like that number.
that's a very good number. I think additionally, if you wanted to hedge, you could probably take Villa win 2-1, 3-1, 4-1. You're
Mm.
going to get a
Yeah.
comparable number, and you could just play both. And as long as one of those hits, you're going to be in the money. Nottingham Forest take on Chelsea. This is the biggest game of the day, probably in the Premier League, because Forest have to win if they want to somehow secure Champions League football, and Chelsea additionally have to win well, they don't have to win, but Champions League football is in their grasp. It's still possible for Chelsea to, at the minimum, I guess they could technically fall as far down as 7th and end up in Conference League again. Chelsea money line at plus 120 is really, it calls out to me. I just think inevitably they're the better squad. Nottingham Forest have been struggling the last couple months. I think the wheels have fully fallen off. Chelsea team total over 1.5 at minus 105. They've only done that in 4 of their last 10. I don't love either of those, but the number, like the value's there. I don't love it, but
Yeah.
here's a couple of the things I like. Enzo Fernandez shot on target plus 115. He's done that in 5 of his last 10. Score or assist at plus 220. He's also done that in 5 of his last 10. The other one that I thought was wild, Marcu Correa has been very good for Chelsea down the stretch here. Shot on target is plus 400. He's done that in 3 of his last 5 games in the Premier League. And a shot, just a shot, is minus 115. And he has a shot
Oh,
in 9 of his last 10 games.
oh my gosh,
So
those are great numbers. Yeah.
very good numbers. I think
Yeah.
there's look, like I said, I think if there's one Premier League game you probably have to watch, it's this one if you're,
Yeah.
not if you don't have a Premier League side that you're locked into. This is like I said, it has the most there's the highest stakes of the day is in that game. Tottenham are taking on Brighton. This is Tottenham are going to play children. Like
I mean, I'm gonna be not shocked if they call the game off. It just based on like the parade's happening on Friday. They're supposed to play a game on Sunday. Who is gonna be sober and available for that one? I don't know.
I mean, Tottenham also have a ton of injuries. I'm going to take Brighton and both teams to score at plus 155. Brighton have nothing to play for. They did give but here's the thing: they came out and played Liverpool hard on Monday. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
yes, they have nothing that they can achieve at this point, but I do think to some extent their manager wants to finish strong. They've had an up and down season at plus 155. I'm going to take. I think Spurs will get a goal. Both teams to score in that game is like minus 300. Uh, I was like thinking about putting it in the parlay, but I was like, damn, this is actually not. There's not enough value in this.
Not even a parlay piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything you like there?
Yeah. I, this is maybe the least concerned that any Tottenham fan has ever been about a Tottenham game. I mean, Brighton money line plus over 2.5 at I think it was at plus money or right around even money for Brighton money line and over 2.5. I mean, we know Spurs love shipping goals, and they're going to ship a lot of them this weekend, and none of it's going to matter. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
You guys should walk out with the Europa League trophy. Like
Yeah.
instead of bringing out one of the mascots, the captain's just carrying the trophy out there.
Yeah.
All right, we jump back in time here. Friday is going to be one of the most dramatic days of football we've seen in a long time. Napoli are going to play at the same time as Inter. Napoli 1 point ahead, and if the situation happens that Napoli and Inter, so Napoli would have to lose and Inter would have to draw, we'll have a tie on points, and we would have a playoff for the Serie A title, which is
We're all rooting for it. I mean,
yeah, we are. You know what? Hand up. I'm not. I'm not
oh,
rooting for it because I have an Inter ticket at 18 to 1 win the Champions League and I'm not cashing out on it. I'm letting it ride, and therefore I don't want Inter to have to
an
play
extra game.
an extra game.
Sure.
So, also an extra game with as much intensity and somehow Conte will make that game go 90. Um, three things that I kind of like in this Napoli game. Both teams to score is plus 140. And I know you're going to say that's crazy, but it's hitting 5 of the last 7 head-to-head games between Cagliari and Napoli. And I know Cagliari have nothing to play for, but it's one of those days that I could just kind of see Cagliari, especially with the way Napoli played over the weekend. I could see them
Yeah.
getting a goal. It's happened in 5 of the last 10 for Cagliari. It's only 4 of the last 10 for Napoli. I also like the under 2.5 goals at plus 162, which is hitting 6 of the last 10 for Napoli. And Napoli and under 3.5 in the game at minus 105 feels right. Like I do think Napoli get this dub, but I don't think there's
Yeah.
a ton of goals in this game. Personally, I know I'm contradicting myself there, but um, I have no idea. Like Napoli also out without a couple of their key players is going to be not great
But
football, but it
yeah.
will.
I think we know what the game plan is going to be once they get a goal, and if they have a lead in the second half, I mean it's they're battening down the hatches.
Yeah,
So I like under 3.5 there feels like a lock, and I do think Napoli's going to get the job done.
Como are taking on Inter. Como have been they're on a run here. They had 6 wins in a row. They drew over the weekend, which was disappointing. They've played very well at home this season. Probably, one of the big surprises of Serie A. I have two player props. I also don't hate Como at plus three quarters a goal on the spread at plus 105, which means if they lose by one, you get half your stake back. If they draw, you win. So like you're buying yourself a little insurance there, and like plus one, the only way that hits is if they. I mean, again, it's whatever. Um, Denzel Dumfries 2 shots in the game at plus 135. He's been the guy for Inter down the
Yeah.
stretch here. DeMarco 2 shots at minus 115. Again, another guy that you can kind of imagine is just going to be taking pot shots from that left back side. Um, it's still unclear if Lautaro is going to start. He's been injured for Inter. I don't know if they'll risk him. They obviously have the Champions League final. What are you thinking here?
Yeah, I mean, I have been impressed with Como. I mean, like you said, like they've been great. Genuinely, just as a season as a whole, like really impressive season for a team. I mean, they showed. I mean, we talked about the Premier League earlier. They showed so much more than any of those promoted teams from the Championship to the Premier League did this last season. And I think they score at home. I think Inter will get the job done. I think the desperation of knowing that they need a win, realistically, to keep their hopes alive. Inter money line and both teams to score is at plus 190. And I like that again on the road. Like in Inter, for all their defensive greatness, I mean we've seen them ship goals in big moments recently. Like they shipped 6 goals across 2 legs against Barcelona. I mean
It is
Lazio.
Barcelona.
It is Barcelona, but then okay, Lazio critical game could take the lead in the Serie A, in the Scudetto race, and Lazio scores two on them.
Yeah, and frankly, a Lazio team that I have not been impressed with in quite a while,
Not
and
recently.
and
Yeah,
and, and a
yeah,
Lazio
not in a
team that
long time.
they've owned too. They scored six against them on Monday night earlier this season in
So
Serie A.
so I like Como to find the back of the net. I still like Inter to get the job done. What happens in the title race? Who knows? Um, I so the title odds are still wild now. Inter to win the title right now is plus 550. And I can't in good faith take that because like there's just no way Napoli drop points to Cagliari, but plus 550. They need two results to go their way at plus 550. It feels like maybe you sprinkle on it. I don't know.
Do you know what Napoli's is in front of you? Do you have it?
It's like minus 1,000.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, probably. Yeah, that makes about sense.
Yeah.
All right. We both have one other game in Italy we want to bet on. It's Sunday, Torino Roma. Roma could make a Europa League spot, which is I don't think they're technically out of top four if results go their way, but I'm taking Roma at under 3.5 in this game at plus 125. They've just been the kings of winning a game 1-0 or 2-0, and I kind of see them doing that against Torino here. That
Yeah.
they just go on the road and do it.
I mean, yeah, you said it. I mean, they're still, in contention for top four, pending a Juve result as well, to go their way. I yeah, I mean, I have them again. I don't usually take the correct score combinations, but 1-0, 2-0, or 3-0 has been their MO this season. That's at plus 200, which is not near as good of a number as the Villa number, but I still like it just because I mean they've had clean sheet wins in 3 of their last 5 matches, and Torino has scored 1 goal in their last 4. So I Torino are going to be hard pressed to get on the score sheet here. Roma again with a win could get in the Champions League spots. So I like a clean sheet win, a 1-0, 2-0, or 3-0. And then I also like Matthias Sule. I mean, he's been the guy down the stretch for them. Just under Ranieri in general has been excellent, but especially of late has been really, really good. Anytime goal scorer is at plus 220. and goal or assist is at plus 110. I like both of those numbers. He's got a goal or an assist in four of his last five games. So I think both of the he's going to be the impact guy for them. If they're looking to get into this Champions League spot on the last day of the season.
Remember when they hired or when Daniel De Rossi was the coach at the beginning of the season? That feels like 4 years ago.
Eons ago.
Like lifetimes have happened between now and then. All right. You brought up a score or assist there. I have a good one in Spain. We're going deep. It's the last full weekend of club football. I this is a gross, obnoxious bet because all of us obviously wanted to watch Alaves versus Osasuna on
Oh,
Saturday
man.
afternoon, but the Croatian striker for Osasuna, Budimir, has 20 goals on the season in La Liga.
Yeah.
He has a goal or assist in 6 of his last 7 games.
Yeah.
Osasuna is tied on points and goal differential with Rayo Vallecano for the last European spot in Spain. They have
Wild.
everything to play for on Saturday. They need this result. They need to score goals. He's score or assist at plus 125. He's
Oh,
anytime goal scorer at plus 140. Like,
I mean,
I'm
yeah.
not saying it's an amazing number, but he's
No,
been
they're
he's been hot. Like,
yeah.
goal or assist in 6 of his last 7 is you got to take it.
Yeah,
Uh,
and you get in these desperation games where I mean the last game of the season need a result. Like he's stepped up all season. I like that number.
I have two parlays. I have a Premier League draw no bet parlay, and I have a both teams to score parlay, both in the Premier League. Um, our draw no bet parlay: Aston Villa at Manchester United, Chelsea at Nottingham Forest, Newcastle home versus Everton, and Manchester City on the road against Fulham. All of those teams need a win. This would put the game. If one of those games draws, you would push. I don't see any of those four losing outright. I mean, City would be hilarious if Fulham did the business over if Fulham did the business over City. I just don't see it happening. And the both teams to score parlay is plus 214. We're going back to the two best teams of the both teams to score parlay this season. Wolves are playing Brentford. 6 of the last 10 Brentford games have been both teams to score. 5 of the last 10 Wolves games, with 6 of their last 8 head-to-head games have been both teams to score. Liverpool are playing Palace in the game that no one really cares about. It's just fast forward until Liverpool can lift the trophy. 8 of the last 10 Liverpool games in 4 straight games have been both teams to score. It's not so much for Palace, but the Liverpool defense just does not give a fuck right now. And Fulham are taking on Manchester City. And look, it's 6 of the last 10 for Fulham. It's only 3 of the last 10 for City, but 5 of the last 6 head-to-head games have had both teams to score when these two teams line up. So that's our last one in Sunday. I will say this, guys. I will have a couple more picks. I do have a Serie A parlay that I'm going to put online, exclusive, so it'll just be on the TikTok, on the YouTube, Instagram. So go make sure you're following us there at Andrew Passaro, at the Plus Money Pod, at Marcus Krum. And we'll be back next week. The aim is to get you guys a full betting preview for the Champions League final. It'll be Saturday, the Saturday the 31st, 3 p.m. I'm aiming to have a game prop and a couple player props is going to be the homework assignment for all of our contributors for that game. Like I said, big one for Inter, 18-1. I think Nick has PSG at like plus 1500 and Inter at 20, like 18-1 or something too.
Oh
And
wow,
Nick hedged famously and got both of these teams.
well done.
Yeah. So we'll be looking forward to that next week. Let's enjoy our last weekend of club football. And enjoy the weekend. Bet responsibly. We'll see you guys next week.